Please rise for the prayer and pledge of allegiance. Our Father, who art in heaven,
Hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come,
thy will be done,
on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread,
and forgive us our trespasses,
as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil.
for thine is the
Kingdom,
kingdom,
and the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Good evening, everybody. We will start tonight with item D, Hope Services, the Henry County Board of Developmental Disabilities presentation of a proclamation declaring March as Developmental Disabilities Month. This will be presented by the mayor. If anyone who's in attendance would like to come up, feel free.
Thank you. Hello.
Joe.
I'm Dawn.
Meet you. Met a few times, Jessica. Good to see you again.
We'd like to tell you a little bit about Hope Services. So my name is Dawn, and I've been with Hope Services for 42 years. I went there when I was about 5, I think. Actually did my student teaching there, fell in love with Henry County, and so I've remained here ever since. I work with infants and toddlers, so birth to 3-year-olds, and I work with their families and their caregivers. We do a lot of coaching of parents. So in Henry County, if a baby is born that has a delay or a developmental disability, or maybe a medical handicap, maybe a premature baby, maybe a baby with Down syndrome, maybe a baby that's missing an arm. We do have drug-addicted babies born in Henry County, or they just have a language delay, or they're just a tough baby, and mom doesn't know what to do to get them to calm down. Some of our babies just come rough to parent. We have a team of people that can provide services to all of those babies and their families, and we call that early intervention. Hope Services serves about 420 individuals with disabilities just in Henry County, and that is from birth through adulthood. We have all kinds of services that we provide. We provide like a social work type of services. We provide occupational therapy, physical therapy, speech and language therapy, living, housing, job opportunities, just recreation kind of things. We go into the schools and help schools write programs for kids or for even adults, and each person has their own individual plan, and then we make sure that we carry out those services. And that is why you see on your tax statement, sometimes Hope Services, we provide all the services through Hope. So I do the baby part, and this is Jess, and she's gonna tell you, yeah, she's got the flair. That's what she does. You know, she makes us look good. So Jess is gonna tell you a little bit about what she does at Hope.
So this year, I'm involved in the Heart Talent Show, and that's through Hope. I've been doing it every year, and I try my best. But it doesn't matter if you have a disability or not. As long as you do your best, that's all that counts. Everybody has their own opinion. And another thing I like about Hope is the Heart Trip, which we are going to Lancaster, Pennsylvania this year. So
Do they pay for that, or do you have to pay for that?
we pay for half, and they pay for the rest.
You do fundraisers.
Mm-hmm. One thing another thing about Hope is Special Olympics. I'm involved in softball, basketball, cheer, bowling, biking. And this year we got first at state for cheer at Ohio State, which I was really nervous about because I'm like, oh no, this is not going to be happening right now. But we nailed it, so.
How about job, Jess? Do you work?
I do. I work out in the community at the filling home 2 days a week, and I'm at Soaring Arts Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and I do poetry and kinetic art, which I'm working on right now.
How about housing?
Housing, I've been living in Napoleon for a couple of years now, since I graduated in 2005 from Liberty Center, which I finished high school. I only get to go to my home school during football and basketball games.
You have 2 roommates?
I have 2 roommates, Terry Jo and Amanda, and we have 2 cats who are very loving but very ornery. But I've been living on my own for a long time, and I've been really enjoying it, getting out as often as much as I can. Just like really enjoying my life, getting out to the community, doing things I thought I could never do.
So if you want to meet up with Jess, you have to make an appointment, because she has a pretty busy schedule. Does anyone have any questions about Hope? Things that you think, I never knew, I'd like to know?
How long has Hope been serving the community?
Over 50 years, I know that. I do know that. They started in a church basement with a group of concerned parents, and the parents actually met together, taught the children the best they could, and volunteered their time there. Yeah. We have the best parents in Henry County. We
When
do.
my daughter, here at 4, couldn't speak clearly, it was Hope Services that helped her so that she can talk.
Thank you for that.
And that was a few years ago.
Well, I think before we do the proclamation, I think Jessica and the rest of the cheer team deserve a round of applause. Okay, so I will read the proclamation. Whereas 2025 Developmental Disabilities Awareness Month proclamation. Whereas Hope Services, as Henry County's Board of Developmental Disabilities, has served citizens with developmental disabilities for over 50 years. Whereas developmental disabilities are conditions which affect millions of Americans and their families. And we recognize that Hope Services serves approximately 420 county citizens with disabilities and individuals with developmental disabilities, their families, friends, neighbors, and coworkers. Encourage everyone to focus on the abilities of all people. The most effective way to increase this awareness is through everyone's active participation in community activities and the openness to learn and acknowledge each individual's contribution. We encourage all citizens to support opportunities for people with disabilities that include full access to education, housing, employment, and recreational activities. Now, therefore, I, Joseph Villaroki, Mayor of the City of Napoleon, do hereby proclaim March 2025 as Developmental Disability Awareness Month, and recognize that our communities are stronger with everyone's participation. Take the time to get to know someone with a disability, recognize ability at work, and see what he or she has to offer to give full support toward enabling people with developmental disabilities to live productive lives and achieve their potential. You're welcome. Okay.
Thank you.
Very much.
Hey Jess,
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Jessica, just because I can't pass up the opportunity to get this on record, who's your favorite brother-in-law?
You are?
Who's your favorite mom?
Who's your favorite son?
You have a younger one.
I think some of that was executive.
I've never asked that.
If I could get it on record, I could hold that over Jensen's head for a long time.
All right, we will move to item E, the approval of minutes. In the absence of any objections or corrections, the minutes shall stand approved from the March 3rd, 2025 regular council meeting. Hearing none, those will stand approved. Item F is citizen communication. If anyone is in attendance tonight that would like to address council, please feel free to come forward at this time. We will allow 5 minutes, and if you would, please just state your name and address for the record.
Well, my name is Lee Eicher. I'm also known as Savannah Lee Eicher. and I actually live on US 6 near Ridgeville Corners. However, I am here tonight on behalf of the Fuel King Travel Center. That changed hands about 5 years ago. I've worked there for 7 years, and I am a manager there. And Raj was going to be here, but sometimes people don't understand him very well, so I'm doing the speaking instead. And the reason that I am here tonight is because we have a great concern about the Casey's that's coming in and their liquor license. We already have, I'm not sure if Love's has beer and liquor, but I know that Pilot and Petro and we have them. And that's a lot within 1 square mile or less. That's a big number. And there's a big concern also to people out in that area about that corner, because that's where you go down to the turnaround, circle around, and then you go across the river to go over to Campbell's Soup. And being right there on the corner, there's a safety issue of whether people who are already somewhat intoxicated, if they will buy liquor and go out on that corner and not necessarily be safe. And we worry about that because we do have a lot of semis going through, and people aren't always careful with the semis. And the other concern we have is we know how hard it is to get liquor licenses. We're trying to increase ours and all of that. And there's not a lot available. So if you have somebody that wants to be in downtown Napoleon, there's not going to be a license for them. They're all going to be out in the truck stop area. And is that really what's best for Napoleon? And I will tell you that the Singh family that owns it have made a commitment to this community. We're not branded to somewhere in some other state. We are local. They have purchased 2 houses here for family members. Their children have gone to high school here. We contribute to local charities, so we feel we have a right to come forward as members of the community to say these things. And I am part of the community. My parents used to own the Scott House on Clinton and Haley. I've kind of been around this town a whole lot myself. So that's the issue where we've come tonight. They asked me to come and speak to you all. Is this really what's best for Napoleon? That's what you have to answer. Or do we need another one out there? That's the question. I know my people. I'm a pretty hard taskmaster. The people that work for me will tell you they quit because I'm so mean to them. Well, I'm not really. But we insist that people follow the rules. And we have actually gotten a letter from the Liquor Control Board because they sent somebody in to buy liquor that couldn't buy it because they didn't have their ID, because that's our attitude. And we don't want anything to be risky out in our area. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you, Ms. Ike. Appreciate your time. On the topic of the liquor license, we will address that in item L, good of the city, L1. So if you'd like to stick around, you're more than welcome to.
Be glad.
If there's no other comments from citizens, we will move to item G, reports from council committees. G1, the Personnel Committee met on March 11th, 2025 and March 13th, 2025. Mr. Mayor?
During those meetings, we did review candidates for the city manager position.
Thank you, sir. G2, the Election Committee did not meet on March 10th, 2025 due to lack of agenda items. The Water, Sewer, Refuse, Recycling, and Litter Committee did not meet on March 10th, 2025 due to lack of agenda items. The Municipal Properties, Building, Land Use, and ED Committee did not meet on March 10th, 2025 due to lack of agenda items. And finally, the Parks and Recreation Committee did not meet earlier tonight due to lack of agenda items. Item I, introduction of new ordinances and resolutions. I1 is resolution number 012-25, a resolution authorizing contracts with the townships of Napoleon, Harrison, Freedom, and the Village of Florida, and Henry County South Joint Ambulance District for fire service and/or emergency medical service commencing April 1st, 2025, and declaring an emergency. Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Thank you. Andy?
Yes, Council President, this resolution authorizes the city manager to enter into contracts with the townships, the Village of Florida, and the South Joint Ambulance District. Once again, those contracts, the 2025 contracts are based on the 2024 actual expenditures for the fire department. I would request suspension as well on this legislation so that we could get it done and approved prior to the April 1st contract date.
Thank you, sir. Andy, this is something that we review annually?
That is correct. Yeah, we have been attempting to meet every quarter with the townships and village and South Troy Ambulance District. I think we've held up that. We've met every quarter. Doesn't always mean we have many people in attendance, but I think they appreciate it. The fire chief has done a phenomenal job of keeping them up to date. I know he has met with them also from time to time individually. So I think there's a level of comfort that these contracts are fair. So.
Thank you, sir. Any questions or comments from council? Chief, I just want to give you the opportunity. Do you have anything to add?
This is the same rates that we've had for years, but it goes off actual expenses. So the percentage we're seeing back is growing, but our expenses obviously are growing as well. But that percentage is remaining the same.
Thank you, sir.
Motion for suspension?
Thank you, Mr. Hayes.
Second.
Michaela, please call the roll on suspension.
Bob?
Yes.
Jordan?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Dr. Dave?
Yes.
Brittany?
Yes.
Ross?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
Okay, and please call the roll on the resolution.
Bob?
Yes.
Jordan?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Dr. Dave?
Yes.
Brittany?
Yes.
Ross?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
Okay, that has passed on first read, under suspension, under emergency. Item J, second reading of ordinances and resolutions. J1 is ordinance number 011-25, an ordinance amending chapter 951 of the codified ordinances of the city of Napoleon, Ohio, specifically sections 951.04 and 951.05. Is there a motion?
I'll motion.
Second. Thank you. Andy?
Yes, Council President. As I explained at the last meeting, these rates have not been adjusted for 23 years. I looked at the rates with the Parks and Rec Director and looked at rates of cemeteries in the area, as well as the effects of inflation over the past 23 years. And we came up with rates that we feel are fair based on that information. There's no other changes. There are no changes to the ordinance.
Thank you, sir. Anything from council? I'm hearing none. Michaela, please call the roll.
Bob?
Yes.
Jordan?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Dr. Dave?
Yes.
Brittany?
Yes.
Ross?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
All right, that will move to third read. So will we. Item K, third reading of ordinances and resolutions. K1 is ordinance number 007-25, an ordinance amending chapter 955 of the codified code of ordinances of the city of Napoleon, Ohio, specifically sections 955.09R, golf privilege fee. Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Heard a first and a second. Andy?
Yes, Council President, once again, for a third and final time, these rates are for corporate membership fees, and we are increasing them by $200 across the board.
Pretty straightforward. Tony, do you know off the top of your head how many corporate memberships we have?
14, I believe, 14 different companies. Most of which are the 50 employees or below.
Okay.
Some other categories.
Thank you, sir. All right. Any discussion from council? Hearing none. Michaela, please call the roll.
Bob?
Yes.
Jordan?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Dr. Dave?
Yes.
Brittany?
Yes.
Ross?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
All right, that will pass on third read. Item L, good of the city. L1 is discussion or action, the approval of a new liquor permit for Casey's Marketing Co. NEC of Industrial Drive and Independence Drive. Andy?
Yes, Council President. The Department of Liquor Control sends this out to the local jurisdictions when there's been a request for a permit. This new Casey's is planned on being located on the intersection, the northeast intersection of Independence and Industrial Drive. And as is always the case, if you choose to take no action, then this will be allowed at the new Casey's.
Thank you, sir. Assistant Chief, I'm gonna put you on the spot. Do you know of any issues that frequent that area?
We haven't been presented with any reason to object to permit in the legal sale of alcohol.
And we would need more than generalized concern. In order to object, we would need specific factual information based on some problems. So I'm unaware of any.
Okay. I'll open the floor to council if anyone has comments.
Do we know as far as, is there certain permits that we can have per zone, or is it citywide, or how does that work?
I know they used to be limited far more than they are today, but I can't give you a number.
Okay.
They are limited.
Or exactly where they are allowed, so.
There are limits if it makes it as far as states okay.
Do you know, is this the last step of the process?
If it's not, it's close.
Anything else from council? No action taken.
I do have a question.
Yes, sir.
Is this, the building, is this dependent on them getting a liquor license? If they don't have the license, are they gonna build?
I can't answer that.
I've not spoken to the business
No.
owner, so I don't know. But again, we would need something very specific to object.
With that, no action taken from council, is what I'm hearing, so we will move to item L2. L2 is discussion or action, the approval of the power supply cost adjustment factor for March 2025, SPSCA 3-month average factor 0.01277, and JV2 0.209725. Andy?
Yeah, there's nothing significant about these numbers. It's virtually the same as it was last month, and it's still some of the lowest for that period over the last 4 years. So.
Thank you, sir. Is there a motion to approve?
A motion?
Second.
Michaela, please call the roll.
Don,
Yes.
Jordan?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Dr. Dave?
Yes.
Brittany?
Yes.
Ross?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
All right, that's been approved. L3 is discussion or action, Riverview Avenue speed study options.
Yes, Council President. As you may or may not recall, in the budget discussions last November, we sought and were approved for an $18,000 speed study to be conducted on Riverview Avenue. At the time, we thought we would conduct the study from the west corporation limits to the east corporation limits. Chad, in the last month or so, received an estimate for $22,250 for that distance. So I had him go back and see what the study would be or would cost from the West Corp limits to Perry Street, because I know in discussions with some of you that that was the section that you were most interested in. You felt, and again, I'm not speaking for all of you, but these are discussions I've had, that everything east of downtown on Perry Street was pretty decent. So I had him look at everything west of Perry. That came back at $15,388. In the meantime, Chad, as he does often, wasn't done doing his homework And I will let him speak for what he is, the more information he's gotten since we talked last.
As Andy mentioned, when we went into budget, I had a quote from basically the leading company in traffic and speed studies in the area. Their cost went up, and that caused us to take another look at this. Because of that, we looked at getting quotes from other companies. In that process, I spoke with an individual who's retired from ODOT. His job at ODOT was this: speed studies, traffic studies. That's what he did. I tried to get input from him on who I could talk to get additional quotes for this work. We discussed the project. He made a comment to me that with his experience, the speed would never come down on West Riverview. He pointed me in the direction of some federal forms that allow you to calculate it on your own. There are some items in that form you have to make assumptions if we don't do a study, such as the average speed of the traffic, the speed of 85% of the traffic, and Mike suggested just putting different numbers in there, see where we came out at, and it would give me an idea of what the results of an actual study might be. When I put numbers in there, the speed limit, the areas I was analyzing, the speed limit kept getting raised. It was not getting lowered. According to what Mike told me initially, that we probably would not be able to lower the limits out there. From what I'm seeing, he's correct. I didn't want to spend $15,000 of your money if we have an idea what those results might come back as. And at this point, I'm just looking for direction on how to proceed. If you would like, the one company I initially spoke to, as Andy mentioned, their quote was a little over $15,000. We could go ahead with the study. I haven't been able to find any other firms that can do the work, or we accept the speed limits we have and put the money back in the city coffers. So just looking for some direction.
Part of the issue is, I mean, you think about it from the water treatment facility west to the western city limits, there's houses only on one side of the road. So your driveways are very few, I mean, fewer than they would be otherwise, obviously. But that's part of the issue, is just the number of drives that come out onto the street.
Part of the input into the formula is number of drives.
And as Chad said, we're just looking for some direction from council on what you want us to do.
Chief, you have something?
I respect the engineer's opinion on this, and he's looked at it very closely. And I don't think that, I'm not gonna wanna speak for you, but I don't think that you're super convinced that we could do anything with it anyway.
Right.
I don't see, I think we've done our due diligence, and I think it would just be expending the money for less than a 50% chance to lower it, and we surely don't want it to go up.
No.
So let's leave it alone. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I'm in the same boat. How much did we budget initially?
18.
18, okay. Yeah. And that was a general fund, or was it operations?
400 would be general fund.
Yeah, I personally think we keep that 15,000 in the general fund.
I appreciate you going the extra mile. Trying to save the city money makes a lot of sense. I try to fight something if we have a good indication of what's going on. Appreciate you finding that.
My question, I guess, would be to the other council members with the crosswalk. That's some of my concern. You know, the crosswalk was added, Chad, I'm not sure, maybe 5 years?
The crosswalk was added when we did the path. I believe it was only 2 or 3 years ago.
Some of my
Just a little
concern
over
is that, and again, I know we've talked to police chief has addressed it, that when that, people are there, it's people, you know, traffic is supposed to stop, and I'm pretty convinced with the number of times I travel there, that that's one of my bigger concerns, I guess, is that crosswalk. And whether we should still even keep the flashing light there, if that creates a problem versus helps. bring it up to other council members to comment on it, and maybe it's just me.
I would certainly leave the light there. I don't know if we could do more to make that a safe crossing for pedestrians, but I would certainly be willing to explore those options.
Can I have a question to the engineer? These are caution lights, they're supposed to stop, but they only flash yellow.
Yes.
Is there an ability, is there a section that can be used to make them flash red on that occurrence and require a stop?
I don't believe so. To my understanding, those were designed per the ORC requirements because that project was actually funded by the state of Ohio. So those were all reviewed by the state of Ohio. So I don't know of any more I could do there. I know we have the flashing lights and we have the advanced warning signs. It's just the topography
So
of
if
what
we-
we have out there is.
So if we put a sign up at that caution area that would say, stop on flashing, we would be wrong doing that.
That I could check on,
Because that would be a specific,
because some signs are regulatory and some are not, and some of the ones that are not necessarily mandated, but are optional to have installed. That I can look at.
I agree that it's a dangerous situation, and if people trust the light is protecting them. As soon as it was put in, I came to council one night and mentioned I almost watched a fatal accident. It was that close, and if he wouldn't have run and pulled his dogs out of the road, I would have watched the dogs and him dive. That's how close it was. And I don't think, I live out in that area, and I don't think people stop the way they should. So one side will stop, sometimes the other side won't. I sure would like to see it continue, but the issue is, the only way we fix it is with enforcement. And how can we do that effectively? Unless we can put one, the red lights, which would make them stop, because they're not stopping on caution. And the other, at least to add the sign that says stop on flasher, if it was legal.
And I can verify that with the state of Ohio.
Although I just think it's better with it than without it. I know people are trusting that, because when we put the crosswalk in, I wasn't happy, because I thought of this too. But when we put the crosswalk in, we should guard it as best as we can. And we really can't, I suppose we could remove the crosswalk, but then people are still gonna cross there. So, but the issue is education and enforcement, I guess, if we can't change the color of the light.
Do we still have the mobile radar, the police radar, that checks the speed? Could we utilize that out there, obviously facing west for the cars that are coming from the west? At least that will show them how fast they're going, and doesn't that show different lights also if they're speeding?
It will flash at them if they get to a certain mile per hour over what we set it at.
Mhm.
If you're looking for data though, it doesn't record the speeds or anything that we can go back and look at later.
Right.
So if you're looking for data, we would have to put a person out there.
I just think most people, when they see those, they're gonna slow down. And then if that's before the crosswalk, they're already starting to slow down. Maybe they'll get them in the habit. And if you could have extra patrol there, especially this time of year, when there's gonna be a lot more people walking and just helping the drivers be more aware of that light.
Does that answer your question, Chad?
As
what
far
to
as
do?
the speed study, it sounds like we're going to not move forward with that. I will look into these additional signs, the additional signage. I'll speak with ODOT regarding that this week, and I'll get some answers on it.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
L4, discussion or action. The Department of Public Works requests council approval of the bid documents and specifications for the 2023 street striping project. Should that be 2025?
Yes, and I'll be in.
2025 street striping project.
I will defer that to the Director of Public Works.
And I would like to clarify, it should be 25, and there was one point in my memo that I had a fat finger, so I'm not pointing my finger at Michaela. But as council's probably aware, every 2 years, the city undertakes a project to restripe all the streets in town. 2025 is that year. For 2025, we budgeted $135,000 for this project, and we're requesting council's approval of the bid documents and specifications so we can get this project out for bid. The scheduled completion date for this project is September 26, 2025. So with your approval, we would get this out for bid this week.
Thank you, Jeff. Discussion from council? Pretty straightforward. I would entertain a motion to approve.
So moved?
Second?
Thank you. Michaela, please call the roll.
Jordan?
Yes.
Tom? Oh, I'm sorry, I
Yes.
said Bob.
Yes.
My bad. Bob, Jordan,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Dr. Dave,
Yes.
Brittany,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
All right, that has been approved. L5, discussion or action, first quarter budget adjustments. Kevin?
This is the time of year where we'll have the Finance and Budget Committee next Monday, and following that, we would like to have the legislation approved by council. So we're asking the law director to enact that legislation, and we're gonna need all three pieces.
Okay.
So we're just pre-approving to have the law director to get those for the next council meeting.
Good. Thank you, sir. Do we have a motion to direct the law director?
Motion.
Second?
Thank you. Michaela, please call the roll.
Bob,
Yes.
Jordan?
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Dr. Dave,
Yes.
Brittany,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
All right. Thank you, Kevin. We'll go around the table. Kevin, I'll start with you this evening, if that's okay.
I have nothing, thank you.
Tom?
No, thank you.
Dr. Dave? Brittany?
And nothing.
Mr. Mayor?
Nothing tonight.
Mr. Hayes?
My agenda is clear.
Nothing
Mr.
for me.
Wetzel? Sure.
It's cool to see the baseball field going again. We're starting to find golf balls on the railroad tracks, so I know it's coming there. My daughter's very excited about that, so it's fun to see citizens out and enjoying the good weather. So thank you, Tony, for all the stuff you guys put in.
Billy?
Nothing for me, thank you.
Andy?
I have nothing, but I agree with Jordan. It's fun to see. I know when I drove by there yesterday, it was like 46 degrees and windy and, you know, good for those kids. I was glad I was gonna go sit inside for a couple of Nothing otherwise.
Nothing for me as well. We do have a few executive session topics here. Billy, would it be okay if we just did one motion for,
It's okay, I guess, and this won't happen, but if there were 5 people that didn't want to go in on a specific topic, then I'll
We're
leave
gonna
it.
take our chances.
I'll leave it to you, yeah.
I would entertain a motion to go into executive session for the acquisition of property, pending litigation, and to consider the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of a public employee, please.
No motion.
Second?
Thank you. Michaela, please call the roll.
Bob,
Yes.
Jordan,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Dr. Dave,
Yes.
Brittany,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
All right, we will be back. Executive session, can I have a motion, please, to come out of executive session for
So
the
moved.
acquisition of property, pending litigation, and to consider the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of a public employee.
So moved.
Thank you. Michaela, please call the roll.
Bob,
Yes.
Jordan,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Dr. Dave,
Yes.
Brittany,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
No action taken on all three fronts. Item N is to approve payment of bills and financial reports. In the absence of any objections or corrections, the payment of bills and financial reports shall stand approved.
Everybody looks at Ken.
They will stand approved. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
A second.
Michaela, please call the roll.
Bob?
Yes.
Jordan?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Dr. Dave?
Yes.
Brittany?
Yes.
Ross?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
We are adjourned.